It was supposed to be just another fun night out with friends. Drinks, music, maybe a little gossip. Nothing too deep. But of course, Martin had to ruin it. He always does. We were at Sarah and Jake's house. Everyone was in a good mood, laughing, having fun. And then someone suggested truth or dare. Now, I'll admit, I'd already had a couple of glasses of wine. Okay, maybe 5. Whatever. I was feeling good, loose, and ready to actually enjoy myself for once, not sit there babysitting Martin, who was sipping his light beer like some kind of nervous intern at a company party. The game started off harmless enough, people telling embarrassing stories, doing silly dares, but then it got spicy. My turn came up, and James smirked. Truth or dare, April? I went with truth, because let's be real, I wasn't about to do anything dumb like take a shot of hot sauce or lick the wall. And then the question hit. What's one thing you'd change about Martin? I swear I didn't even have to think about it. I just blurted out, his skills in bed. I mean, he talks a big game, but when it's showtime, it's like watching a trailer for a movie that never comes out. The room went silent for like 2 whole seconds before everyone burst out laughing. It was the truth. And honestly, I thought I was doing everyone a favor by saying it out loud. Maybe a little public humiliation would light a fire under him, make him try harder. But oh no, Mr. Sensitive couldn't handle it. His face turned bright red, and he just stared at me like I'd set his precious car on fire. April, that's enough, he hissed through gritted teeth. Oh, come on, like I'd said something outrageous. It was a joke, sort of. Relax, Martin, it's just a game, I said, rolling my eyes. But no, he had to storm off like some drama queen, leaving everyone awkwardly staring at me. Whatever. It wasn't my fault he couldn't take a little truth. So there he was, stomping out of the house like some wounded deer, leaving me behind to deal with the awkward stares. Typical Martin. Can't handle the heat, so he runs off like a kid who just lost at Monopoly. I stayed for a little while longer. Why should I let his sulking ruin my night? But after another glass of wine, I figured I'd better head home too. On the way back, sitting in the back of a cab, I had plenty of time to think. And you know what? The more I thought about it, the more annoyed I got. Martin has no one to blame but himself. I mean, really, when was the last time he even tried? He just goes through the motions, day after day, like some robot programmed to be boring. Meanwhile, there's me, full of life, full of passion, and stuck with someone who barely notices me unless I'm nagging him to take out the trash. It's exhausting. And yeah, okay, maybe I let that frustration spill out tonight, but can you blame me? A girl can only take so much. And then there's Nigel. God, just thinking about him made my pulse race. He's everything Martin isn't. Confident, charming, exciting. We met a couple of months ago at some networking event. Martin was too busy watching football to come with me, of course, and it was like sparks flew immediately. The way he looked at me, like I was the queen. I hadn't felt that way in years. Nigel gets me. He knows how to make me laugh, how to make me feel alive. And let's not even get started on what he's like in bed. Let's just say he knows how to make a girl feel special. With him, it's all fireworks and adrenaline, not the awkward, half-hearted attempts Martin puts in once every blue moon. By the time the cab pulled up to the house, I was over it. If Martin wanted to pout and act like a victim, fine, let him. I had bigger things to think about, like the text I'd gotten from Nigel earlier that evening. It was simple, just, if you keep looking this good in my mind, I might need you to come over and ruin me properly. But it was enough to remind me why I felt alive in the first place. I walked into the house, still half smiling from the thought of Nigel, and there was Martin, sitting on the couch with his arms crossed like some dad waiting to scold his kid for breaking curfew. Oh, this was going to be fun. I barely got through the door before Martin started in on me. "What the hell was that back there, April?" he barked, his face all twisted up like he'd just tasted sour milk. "You humiliated me in front of everyone." I dropped my bag and rolled my eyes so hard I thought they might get stuck. "Oh, please, Martin. It was a joke. Everyone was laughing. Don't be so dramatic." Dramatic? He stood up, pacing like he was about to deliver some Oscar-winning speech. You basically called me useless in front of all our friends. How am I supposed to just sit there and take that? Maybe by growing a thicker skin, I shot back, crossing my arms. You're acting like I just burned down the house. It's not that serious. But oh no, Martin wasn't done. This isn't just about tonight, April. You've been different lately. Distant, cold. What's going on with you? His eyes narrowed, and for a split second I thought, crap, does he know? Different? I let out a bitter laugh. Maybe it's because I'm tired, Martin. Tired of being the only one who puts any effort into this marriage. Was that true? Not really. But it sounded good enough to shut him up. He wasn't buying it, though. No, it's more than that, he said, stepping closer, his voice lower now. It's like you're not even here anymore. Are you hiding something? For a moment, my heart raced. What if he had figured it out? What if he knew about Nigel? The thought of him discovering everything sent a thrill of panic through me, but also, weirdly, a rush of excitement. The idea of two men fighting over me, of Martin actually stepping up for once, was almost intoxicating. But I wasn't about to let him see any of that. You're imagining things, I said coolly, brushing past him to grab a glass of water from the kitchen. Maybe you should stop overthinking and start focusing on how to be a better husband. I could feel his frustration simmering as I walked away, but honestly, I didn't care. As I sipped my water, I couldn't help but think about Nigel, his confidence, his touch, the way he made me feel alive in a way Martin never could. Martin could sulk all he wanted. I had Nigel, and that was enough to keep me going, for now. Over the next couple of weeks, things settled into this weird, tense routine. Martin was quieter than usual, fine by me, and spent most of his time pretending not to watch me like a hawk. Subtlety was never his strong suit. Meanwhile, I kept doing what I do best, balancing it all like a pro. Work, social life, and of course, sneaking around with Nigel. Honestly, I was good at it. Slipping out for work meetings, staying late at the office, deleting texts and calls like clockwork. It was almost thrilling, like I was starring in my own little spy movie. The adrenaline rush of getting away with it was addictive. And let's face it, Martin didn't exactly make it hard. The man couldn't find his socks half the time, let alone catch on to something as intricate as my double life. The truth is, I didn't even feel bad. Why should I? If Martin had been paying attention, if he'd put in even a fraction of the effort Nigel did, none of this would have happened. But no, he just sat there, day after day, being his same dull, predictable self. It's like he thought just existing was enough to keep me happy. Newsflash, it wasn't. And Nigel? Oh, he was everything. The texts, the stolen kisses, the nights we spent together. It was electric. Every time I was with him, it felt like I was finally living, finally being seen. Sure, I'd catch myself wondering sometimes if Martin was catching on, but even that didn't scare me. If anything, the idea of him finding out was kind of exciting. Maybe it'd wake him up, push him to be better. Or maybe not. Either way, I'd win. The thing is, I wasn't just cheating for the thrill of it. I deserved this. I deserved to feel wanted, to feel alive. If Martin couldn't step up, then that was on him, not me. I wasn't going to waste my life waiting for him to figure it out. But I'll admit, there was a part of me that enjoyed watching him squirm. The way he'd glance at me, trying to read my mind, trying to figure out what was going on, it was almost cute. Pathetic, but cute. He knew something was off, but he didn't have the guts to confront me. Typical Martin, always passive, always too scared to actually do anything. I told myself it was for his own good. Maybe, just maybe, this would finally motivate him to get his act together. If not, well, I still had Nigel. For now, life was exactly how I wanted it. Balanced, exciting, and just a little dangerous. What could possibly go wrong? And then, it all started unraveling. Slowly at first, like a tiny crack in the glass. Martin's little stares got sharper, his questions more pointed. He'd ask where I'd been, who I was texting, why I was working late so often. I'd laugh it off, brush him aside, tell him he was being paranoid. But deep down, I knew. He was onto me. The breaking point came one night after I got back from meeting a client. I walked into the living room, and there he was, sitting on the couch, my iPad in his hand. My stomach dropped. He didn't. He couldn't. My iPad and iPhone were synced, and I just forgot about it. "What the hell, Martin? You went through my iPad?" I snapped, trying to snatch it back, but he held it out of reach. His face was pale, but his voice, cold, deadly. "How long, April? How long have you been lying to me?" For a split second, I froze. My mind raced for an excuse, a way out, but then I thought, why bother? He's already seen everything. So instead, I folded my arms and glared at him. "And what exactly did you think you'd accomplish by invading my privacy, huh? You think you're the victim here?" His eyes flashed with anger. "I saw the messages, the pictures, the videos. Do you even care about what you've done?" Oh, now I was furious. "What I've done? What about what you haven't done, Martin? You sit there day after day, acting like being my husband is enough. But it's not. It's never been enough." He stared at me like I'd slapped him. "So this is my fault now? You cheat on me for months, and somehow I'm the problem?" "You are," I shouted, my voice rising. "You're boring, Martin. You're predictable. You don't make me feel anything anymore. And Nigel, he makes me feel alive. He gives me what you never could." The words hung in the air like a bomb, and for a moment, I thought Martin might actually explode. Instead, he just shook his head, his expression a mix of heartbreak and disgust. "You're unbelievable," he said quietly. "You don't even feel guilty, do you?" "Why should I?" I shot back. "If you'd been half the man Nigel is, none of this would have happened. But you weren't. So don't act all high and mighty now." That's when he dropped the real bomb. "I've already sent everything to my lawyer," he said, his voice ice cold. "And to your friends, and your parents." I blinked, stunned. "You didn't." "I did. And I'm done, April. We're done." For a moment, I just stood there, staring at him, my mind racing. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. He was supposed to fight for me, to beg me to stay, to promise he'd change. Instead, he was walking away. And worse, he was taking my carefully crafted image down with him. I wanted to scream, to throw something, but all I could do was watch as he walked upstairs and slammed the bedroom door. For the first time, I realized I might actually lose everything, and I hated him for it. The next morning, the house felt like a war zone. Martin barely looked at me as he left for work, slamming the door behind him like a petulant teenager. And me? I was seething. Not because of what I'd done, let's be real, I still didn't feel bad about that, but because he dared to turn the tables on me. He made me the villain in my own story. By noon, my phone was blowing up. Messages from friends, calls from my mother, even a couple of voicemails from Sarah. Apparently, Martin hadn't been bluffing. He really had sent those photos and messages to everyone. Everyone. "What the hell is wrong with you?" Sarah hissed when I finally picked up her call. "How could you do that to Martin? And in your own house?" I almost laughed. Of course she'd side with him. Little Miss Perfect, always playing the moral high ground. "Oh, give me a break, Sarah," I snapped. "You don't know the half of it. If you were married to someone like Martin, you'd do the same thing. April, you humiliated him. You've destroyed your marriage, and for what? Some fling? For someone who actually makes me feel alive," I shot back, hanging up before she could say anything else. I didn't need a lecture from her, or anyone else for that matter. By the time Martin got home, I was ready for a fight. He walked in, cold and silent as a glacier, and I wasn't having it. "So you've decided to play the martyr, huh? Sending my personal life to everyone we know? Real classy, Martin." He dropped his bag by the door and stared at me, his expression unreadable. "You made this personal when you brought Nigel into our home, April." "Oh, spare me the self-righteous act," I snapped. "You're just mad because you couldn't keep me happy, and now everyone knows it." His jaw tightened, and for a moment, I thought he might actually yell. But instead, he just shook his head. "You're unbelievable," he said quietly. "You've wrecked everything, and you don't even care. You don't care about me, about this marriage, about anything except yourself." "Damn right I care about myself," I fired back. "Maybe if you'd cared a little more, I wouldn't have had to look elsewhere." That got him. His face turned red, and his voice cracked with anger. "You know what, April? You can keep blaming me all you want, but at the end of the day, this is on you, and you're going to have to live with that." And then he walked away. Just turned and walked out of the room like he was done. And maybe he was. But if he thought that made him the bigger person, he was wrong. I wasn't going to let him play the victim while I got painted as the villain. Not a chance. A week later, the divorce papers arrived. No long speech, no teary confrontation, just a thick envelope on the kitchen counter with Martin's name scrawled on it. Classic Martin. Too passive to deal with it head-on, but quick to play the victim and leave the mess behind for someone else to clean up. I sat there with the papers in my hands, staring at the stupid legal jargon, and all I could think was, this is it. This is how it ends. Not with a bang, not even with a real fight, but with Martin quietly slinking away like the doormat he's always been. Oh, and let's not forget Nigel. The minute he found out I was married, he bolted faster than I could blink. Mr. Confident, Mr. Charismatic, turns out he wasn't so bold when things got complicated. "I didn't sign up for this," he'd said, looking genuinely hurt, as if he was the one who'd been blindsided. The audacity. So there I was. No Martin, no Nigel, no one to turn to except a bunch of nosy friends and judgmental family members who'd all suddenly become experts on my personal life. Everyone had an opinion, and none of them were on my side. Big surprise. But you know what? I don't care. I don't regret anything. Sure, I could have been more careful. I could have covered my tracks better, kept Nigel a secret longer. But regret? No. Martin was never going to be the man I needed him to be. I gave him plenty of chances, and he blew every single one of them. That's on him. As for Nigel, well, maybe I misjudged him. Maybe I thought he was something more than just a fling. But even if he was a coward, at least he reminded me of what I deserve. Passion, excitement, adventure, not this dull, lifeless routine Martin called a marriage. So here I am, alone but not broken. If anything, I'm stronger, smarter, ready to start over and find what I really deserve. Men these days, most of them are weak, lazy, and spoiled by the world we live in. But I'm not worried. I'm April, and I'm a damn force to be reckoned with. Let Martin sulk in his little bubble of self-pity. Let Nigel live with his cowardice. I'm moving on, and I'm doing it my way. Because at the end of the day, I'm the only one who knows what's best for me. You know, people love to judge. They'll look at someone like me and whisper behind my back, "How could she? What kind of person does that? Blah, blah, blah." But here's the thing, they don't get it. Life is short. Too short to spend it playing by some invisible rulebook that doesn't even make sense. You've got one shot at this, one tiny flicker of time to actually live. So why waste it being miserable? Sure, I cheated. Sure, I lied. So what? At least I'm living boldly. You think I care about their opinions? No. They're probably stuck in their own boring routines, secretly wishing they had the guts to do what I did. But not me. I want to feel alive, every second of every day. And if that means breaking a few rules, fine by me. Rules are for people who don't have the imagination to live without them. Now, let's talk about Martin and Nigel for a second. God, what a pair of disappointments. Martin, bless his heart, tries so hard to act like the victim. But let's be real, he was barely a husband, weak in bed, predictable in life, completely lacking in passion. And Nigel? Don't get me started. He had the fire and the charm, sure, but the minute things got complicated, he folded like a cheap suit. He couldn't handle the idea of conflict, couldn't handle me. In the end, they're both the same, pathetic in their own unique ways. Oh, and here's a fun little story for you. Nigel used to come over to the house, right? And, of course, he noticed things. Men's shoes by the door, a jacket on the chair. Once, he even picked up one of Martin's razors in the bathroom and asked, "Whose is this?" You know what I told him? "Oh, that's my brother's stuff. He crashes here sometimes." And he believed me. Can you imagine? The man thought he was walking into my perfect single-woman world, when in reality, he was practically tripping over my husband's life. Hilarious. But honestly, I'm not worried about Nigel or Martin. Men like them are a dime a dozen. If I want someone, I'll find him. And if I don't, well, that's fine too. If I don't find someone who truly gets me, I'll just keep moving on, no strings attached. Harsh? Maybe. But I'm done pretending that life's some romantic fairy tale where everyone's feelings matter equally. Mine come first, always. And yeah, I get it. Most people don't see life the way I do. They'll call me selfish, reckless, cold. Let them. They don't know what I've been through. A few years ago, I came this close to dying. A car accident, headlights coming straight at me, the screech of brakes, the crunch of metal. And somehow, miraculously, I walked away without a scratch. That moment changed everything for me. I realized how fragile life is, how quickly it can all end. And from that day on, I swore I'd never waste another second on anything or anyone who didn't bring me joy. No waiting, no compromising, no settling for mediocrity. I want it all. The thrill, the passion, the chaos. If that makes me selfish, then fine. I'm selfish, but I'm also alive, and I'm going to stay that way, no matter what it takes. Life isn't for the weak. It's for people like me, bold, unapologetic, and completely untouchable. Disclaimer: the story presented in this video is a fictional narrative created for both entertainment and educational purposes. The actions and viewpoints of the character, April, are not representative of the beliefs or values of the creator of this video. April's behavior and decisions reflect a deeply flawed perspective, driven by personal misunderstandings and misplaced priorities. Her actions serve as an example of how unresolved frustrations, lack of honest communication, and avoidance of personal responsibility can lead to a destructive chain of events. This story is a reminder of the importance of facing challenges with integrity, seeking open dialogue, and addressing underlying issues before they spiral out of control. By reflecting on stories like this, we can better understand the complexities of human behavior and motivations. It's also an opportunity to examine our own decisions and find healthier, more constructive ways to handle life's challenges. If you find yourself in similar circumstances, seeking guidance from a therapist or counselor can be a powerful step toward positive change. Thank you for watching, and remember, empathy and honest self-reflection are key to building better relationships and a more fulfilling life.